Straw Hut Media.
Hello, this is Weird Al Yankovic, and I'm alone with Jake Hogan.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
Hey guys, and welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan. I really appreciate you being here. This is an opportunity for me to ask really smart people questions that I have about my own life. And I'm glad that you can join me for that. If you have questions or comments that you'd like to send me, I really appreciate them and I'd love to respond to them. Write me at dbawjk@gmail.com and I will respond forthwith. Also, if you get a chance, subscribe to this thing on YouTube. Those numbers got to climb. They have to climb. I need to get 14 million subscribers by, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks to get 14 million. Currently, we're at 200. So we got a ways to go, guys. Let's get it. Let's get it done. Today, I have such a great show for you because one of my heroes is here. Weird Al Yankovic is here. He is one of my comedy idols. I mean, and we're kind of contemporaries, sort of, but he's good and I'm not. I mean, that's how I look at it. He's great. He's written, iconic and made iconic parody songs, iconic music videos, have the greatest taste in what to make fun of and how to do it so that it sounds good and it looks good and it feels good. And that is my issue with him, which is I think he takes a lot of time to perfect exactly what he's doing. And maybe that's part of what makes a parody great. I mean, some of the greatest parodies are picking out certain details and mimicking those, but he does the whole thing. With music and music videos, he managed to do it all. And I think it's a Herculean task. And my question about my life is, how perfect is perfect? Can you wait to get to that level of perfect before you turn in your work? Can you just settle for good and not always reach for perfect? Because perfect is unattainable, as far as I can tell, except when you're Weird Al Yankovic. Anyway, we're going to talk to Al about that and many other things right after this.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
Weird Al, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You're awesome to do this. Am I? You are because I was wondering what piece of blackmail I had over you to drag you down here in the middle of the day in Hollywood. What? Yeah, you must have things to do.
No, but we go way back, Jay. I mean, come on.
We do. But I mean, it's very kind, and people get an email saying, "Will you do my podcast?" And it's not unlike getting an email of getting jury duty or some other like, "Oh, really? Do I have to do this now?" And then you have to weigh it, saying like, "Oh, well, do I owe this person? What's the value in it? Like, how much time do I have? How annoying will it be?" And so let me assure you, it's going to be very annoying.
Okay, I was hoping for that.
Of course, I know you and I like you as a human being, but I am a huge, giant, nerdy fan of yours.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I have been for many, many years. You came to fruition the same era that I came to fruition, and sort of like, and we were listening to Dr. Demento at the same time.
Yes.
And then you got a song on Dr. Demento. I was like, oh, he can do this. Hey, my God, he can actually transcend the thing of listener to the doer. Like, that's amazing to me.
And Demento wasn't even like soliciting anybody to, I mean, he was playing his old records, and I thought, well, I'll just record something in my bedroom and send it in and see what happens.
Right. That was kind of shocking because we were listening to, on Dr. Demento, he was playing songs from the 1940s.
Right.
And he's playing, like bad parodies from the 1970s. Like nothing new was coming out. And then you had, was Fish Heads new? I don't know. There were some new songs, but mainly...
one of the guys that made Fish Heads introduced me to my wife.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Was it Billy Mooney?
Mooney, yeah.
Fantastic. He's so good. And one of the childhood stars of Lost in Space.
That's right. Little Will Robinson.
Yeah, fantastic. Taking a goofy song that you made in your bedroom or potentially a bathroom somewhere in college and turning it into a life's career is fucking amazing.
Well, yeah,
how did it didn't just happen.
Well, it kind of did.
Yeah? Tell me.
It wasn't that premeditated. I mean, I always had my unrealistic dreams of being in showbiz, but I never really thought that was going to be my life. I mean, I went to college because I really thought I was going to be an architect. I thought I would be an adult, have a real job, get up, dress nice, drive to work.
It sounded like you didn't have a show business of dreams at all, that you were going to architect school and that you grew up in the LA area, but not in Hollywood necessarily. So what were those show business dreams? Like, was there really a dream before?
Yeah, there wasn't a plan. I didn't have like a 10-year plan. Like, I'm going to make it in the biz.
Right.
But, I saw the Dr. Demento show and I thought these are my people, and I started to get a little bit of attention through the show. I mean, I was in high school basically, with my stuff being played on the radio, and I thought that was pretty cool. But I didn't think, okay, that's going to be my life now. But I got a few lucky breaks along the way. I graduated college, and when Capitol Records picked up my Bologna, that kind of turned a key, because that made me think, like, wait a minute, like this actual record company, major record company, the Beatles record company.
That's at the time when we thought record companies were cool. Yeah. Not so much anymore. But so at the time, like, a record company wants to do your thing is fantastic. Yeah.
So I was still in college when I got my Capitol record deal, and I deals in quotes because it was literally just that one single. But it got me thinking, just wandering the halls of Capitol Records and seeing all the gold records and being introduced as, our newest artist. Right. And it was sort of like very tongue-in-cheek, because they didn't really consider me a Capitol artist. I was just a novelty in every sense of the word. But
Beach Boys, Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, and you.
But that got me thinking, like, this would be a lot more fun than being an architect.
Right. And it was. I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Do you? I have some questions from people who wrote in the questions from listeners.
Okay.
But that one of them is about architecture.
All right.
And one of them is architecture still part of your life? Do you care about architecture?
I live in a house.
Yeah. Did you help design that house?
I did not. I just bought it.
Okay.
But I appreciate architecture. I whenever we have like a bathroom remodel, I'll draw out the plans, because I remember how to do that. Right. I can still print pretty neatly. They instill that architectural lettering in you.
Horrifying.
Which lasts your whole life pretty much.
Not me, man. There was something in high school called drafting.
Yes, that's how you start. That's how it all starts.
I took drafting, and I learned the draft, but my writing's terrible. Yeah, it's just awful.
Yeah,
I'd be like a doctor's prescription trying to read what, like, people wouldn't know if it's a window or a door or anything. Right. So the videos were the catapult to. Do you feel that the videos were as much as the records the catapult to becoming like the Weird Al we know today?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I got my record deal without the aid of music videos, but it was the, my second album really took off because of the Eat It video. And that definitely, made me pretty much an overnight star. I mean, you hear about overnight fame, and it's kind of a cliche, but I mean, the day that video went into heavier rotation on MTV, my life changed. People, like, all of a sudden were like stopping and staring at me, which had really never happened before.
I've seen overnight success quite a bit. It's shocking.
Yeah.
First of all, I know everybody tried to assassinate a president. So as soon as that happens, they get famous real fast.
That's the quickest way, by the way.
I know that is very good. You've handled your fame in a very cool way, which is...
You say cool or cruel?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start with the cool first.
Okay, all right.
I think you have a really great relationship with your fan base, with the people who...
It's all platonic.
We'll get to the cruel later. Like I say, we'll hit the cruel in a second. I've seen you interact with people. They are, like most people, they're fans, they're good fans, but your fan base seems to be, I feel, smarter for the most part and kinder for the most part.
I like to think so.
I get the sense that they are. When I go to your show, the audience is filled with incredibly nice people and kids. It's like really, it's like a great show. It's a great,
thank you.
It's a great moment to be there, and everybody's like, it's akin to, at a Bruce Springsteen concert, everybody's 65 and like they're old men who all thought they were born to run 40 years ago. At your show, it's like another really sort of smart crossword puzzle people who do smart things and like funny things and enjoy just a kind night out.
Yeah, I mean, the people that like me are generally people that I would like.
Yes, I guess so.
It works that way.
I don't think it always works that way, but it's true that I think it works that way with you. This leads me to a little bit of my question. My question is this.
Okay.
I am a comedy writer, primarily, sometimes a performer, sometimes other things. Comedy is hard. We can agree upon that. What you have done with song parodies and original music and videos is I feel, you perfected those things. You made them very, 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 very intricate, very smart, but not so smart the audience doesn't get it. But you took the time to, both in music, in the sound of a record and the look of a video, to replicate it in exacting ways that most people at the time would never have done.
Thank you. You know, I credit a lot of my success to my band. I've had the same band for 40 years. I work with very talented people in all aspects of what I do. And, you know, thank you for pointing that out, because, you know, people sometimes denigrate comedy music because they think it's just like, oh, any hack can do that. But I mean, even you look like back at Spike Jones in the 40s, like he had a comedy band, but they were like the best players in the world.
Fantastic.
You know, you have to have the chops to be able to do the music and then take it up an extra level.
It's what I think about comedy. I think comedy is harder than drama. Comedy, you know, it's a little harder of a dance, and to do it well, you have to start with something great. You have to start with great music, great musicians, in a show, a great story, all that stuff, and then you can make it funny. But you have to still start with what everything starts with. But your music is really specifically great. It's very hard to parody things and get them exactly right. It's very hard to get the look specifically of music videos very, very right. It must have taken forever to get it done. And then my question is perfectionism. I don't have that kind of patience for perfectionism. I think when it's done, when it's due, like when the deadline's here, I got to turn it in, but I could be tinkering with it forever.
Well, that's part of what makes it funny is it's, you know, ostensibly just a kind of a silly, frivolous thing, but we're spending a lot of time and effort and energy to make it right. And that's part of why it works, because it's you know, it subverts your expectation of what a novelty would be.
Right, except it became our expectation whenever a new Weird Al video came out.
That was my big mistake.
So, like, you know, when it's a Nirvana video, it's like exactly a Nirvana video. When Michael Jackson did not make easy videos. Yeah. He made very complex videos. And so, you know, it's really smart. Lyrically, it's really smart. Visually, it's really smart. And I'm a little cowed by it. Like, I really am. Like when I was looking at this, and that is so good, and yet you did it, and now you haven't done it for a while. Like, when's the last time you put out an album?
Well, I'm pretty much done with doing traditional albums.
Right.
My last album was Mandatory Fun, which came out almost exactly 10 years ago.
Right. For a couple of reasons. I imagine that making albums is a stupid business right now. That's number one. But also, it's hard to do. I would imagine that there's so much effort to do that.
It's a
lot of work. So it proves my point that the perfectionism costs. There's a cost to it, right? But what is the ratio of don't let perfect be the enemy of good? Like, at what point were you able to say good enough?
Every single time. I mean, you know, it's never going to be exactly perfect. I mean, the saying is nothing's ever done. It's just you have to abandon a project at a certain point.
Well, for me, it's but record albums aren't. There's no expiration date, right? I mean, if you want to take another 6 months,
you could. I mean, you know, back when I was putting out albums, they were a little bit more time intensive because I wanted the parodies to be as topical as possible. But yeah, your point stands. I mean, I could take virtually as much time as I really needed to. But you know, when I released the albums, I thought they were as good as they could be. Although when I'd hear them on the radio later, I'd go, that syllable could probably be a little bit more sharp, you know?
Right. Well, that's my horror of watching anything I've done. Is I only see the mistakes.
Right. No, that's exactly right. I mean, it takes me a long time after I've done something to listen to a song again and go, oh yeah, that worked pretty well. Because after I record something, immediately after exactly that, you can only hear the mistakes.
Did you feel more pressure on the original songs versus the parody songs? because the original songs are being judged on their own merit.
Yeah. Well, there was probably more pressure on the parodies, actually, just because I knew that those were more likely to be singles and or videos, and more people would see them and be aware of them, so there was more pressure for those to be good. I mean, I put as much love and care into everything that I did, but I was very well aware of when I was like recording the hit single that had to really nail everything.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
So now that you've done, you're not making albums anymore. I don't know if you're still. I mean, you're touring. Obviously, you'll still have your show, and you started writing. You just made a movie recently that was fantastic. The Bio, which was really funny and really, in its own weird way, kind of a parody, but kind of not a parody. I don't know how to even describe it exactly, but it's a genre of fake bios that's kind of real, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's it's similar to other things that have come out, but
Walk Hard was a bio that didn't exist.
Right. So that's probably the closest thing you could relate it to. I mean, in a way, it's like Pop Star and Spinal Tap, but Walk Hard is the closest thing. But none of those were about real people.
Right. So you had to decide what parts of your life you're gonna say honestly, and what parts of your life are just going to bullshit about. And well chosen, I think.
We wanted to start out so it could be, so some people would believe it in the beginning, and then it just progressively gets more and more absurd. And I've heard that some people actually believe the whole movie, which frightens me.
Really?
Yeah.
Now who does that?
Yeah, Al fought Pablo Escobar in the jungle, and he got assassinated by Madonna. So totally believe it.
I think those people were not paying attention, or there's a certain membership of your audience
out there
who are also very high, and they don't care.
Yeah. If it's in a movie, it's got to be true.
I guess that's true. But so where do you devote? I guess the question was headed toward, where are you devoting that kind of discipline or energy to anything, or are you just saying, I'm relaxing?
Well, I've definitely slowed down, and I'm definitely relaxing. But anytime I do a project, I'm not slacking. I mean, if I decide to do something, I put everything into it. I put everything into the biopic.
Right.
There are several things that I'm that are in the pipeline, let's say, which I'm very excited about.
Top secret projects.
Can't really talk about it, but there's stuff going on.
Is Meryl Streep involved?
Not yet.
Okay, all right.
Still waiting for the callback.
Okay. I'm excited to whatever it is. I'm sure it's going to be great. You're one artist that I have never had a disappointing moment in. It's like this is what I'm usually getting more than what I pay for.
Oh, well, thank you.
So on the value meter, you're very high on the value meter.
Nice.
And especially in the show. The show is fantastic.
The live show?
The live show. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, not just really entertaining, musically.
Thank you.
Beautiful to listen to.
Which tour did you see? I forget.
I took my son to see you. I think you were playing at Orange County or County Fair, not that long ago.
Okay.
And it just was filled with great songs, great music, showmanship, a million costume changes. And it's like you did not spare any part of the showbiz, repertoire. That's all shoved into the show. And I just thought, this guy from Linwood is embarrassing. I didn't grow up in Beverly Hills, but I was Beverly Hills adjacent. And we know what a good show is. We know what show people are. And that's real show business.
That's so nice to hear, man. Yeah, I've done a lot of different kind of. That was sort of like the standard kind of big show. But we've done a couple of vanity tours where it's basically just the band sitting on stools and doing like their not acoustic unplugged, but it's sort of like the stripped down version of the tour. And then we've done a tour called Strings Attached, where it's the full band plus literally a full symphony orchestra.
Right.
So we did that tour.
Were you jazzed to play with a full orchestra?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd pull it off because, it seemed like, again, kind of ridiculous. Like, here's this, like, goofy guy, doing funny music with a full-blown orchestra.
Right.
And we did it, and it worked well.
When I've ever worked with an orchestra, scoring a show on The Simpsons or something like that, there's nothing that makes me cry faster than hearing gorgeous music played with all those great musicians and the strings and it wells up inside of you like they're doing a comedy cue for a dumb cartoon and I'm crying. Like I'm literally crying at the beauty of the music.
Oh, to be on stage. I mean, I remember the first time we had the orchestra for the encore, we do our Star Wars songs, and we had the full orchestra playing. I came out to the theme from Star Wars, and it's so big and beautiful with the orchestra, and I got a little choked up. Yeah, it was like, it's amazing.
Music hits you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm the first person to come up with this idea, but music hits you very emotionally.
Yes.
Shut up! I'm trademarking it.
Don't walk that back.
Trademarking it.
Yeah.
But it's so surprising as somebody who's trying to move people to either to laughter or thought with words, and like music does it like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like I feel like an idiot. I should have learned an instrument. My son plays instruments. He plays music, and he can make me laugh or cry instantly just from how he's playing it and what he's doing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's genius. But that's fine. It's good. Your passion then, we were talking about, you're doing this secret projects that you can't tell me about. But, I saw you in San Francisco. You were playing a lot with the dad band.
Oh, the Sketch Fest. Yeah.
That Sketch Fest and doing that. And you were having fun doing that. And, how much of yourself do you think at this point is a comedian, and how much of this point is a musician?
Oh gosh, I like to think I'm 2 minutes in one. I don't know. That's an old reference.
Yeah.
Certs,
right?
Okay,
Certs.
yes, very good.
We're the same fucking age. So
I'd say 43%. And I'm not going to say which one.
All right. But I mean, do you take your musicianship seriously?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I am in fact a musician.
Right.
I like to think I'm both. I have my toe dipped in both worlds. So, I mean, I like to think I can travel in either circle.
Well, you clearly can. People invite you to play, and you play. Yeah. So you must know. I mean, people don't invite me to play, and if they did, they'd regret it very quickly.
Yeah, I'm at a really cool point in my life and career where at this point I can basically just do what I feel like doing.
Right.
Which is great. I mean, David Wayne will say, "Hey, do you want to, play with the dad band?" I'm like, yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm not at that point. I was mandatorily forced into this podcast.
Were you?
So yes. So I'm hoping that I don't know how many months I have to do this. Producer Ryan, is there some sort of legal document that says how long I have to be doing a podcast? No. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll figure it out. But eventually, I want to get to that point where I'm just doing what I want to do.
Okay.
I haven't hit that.
You told me this would be fun.
Well, it is fun for you. It's not a purgatory for you.
Okay.
It's a purgatory for me.
Got it.
No, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm enjoying doing this because the last time I got a chance to really sit down and talk with you was like, I don't know how many years ago we had tea on Sunset Boulevard talking about something. So
we were trying to pitch some kind of
TV show.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the many, many failure TV shows.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about failure TV shows, I can talk about them all day long.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is that in development yet?
No,
how are you doing with that?
It's so close, Al.
So close.
It's so close. It's almost there.
Waiting for that callback.
Yeah. But we're figuring it out. Well, this leads me to a different question, which is the records that you've done, the parodies that you've done, and even the original songs you've done sort of hit on zeitgeist moment, hit on the pop culture.
Right.
And so like, how much time do you spend now or even then just observing pop culture and deciding, okay, this is something I'm going to call, because that's kind of part and parcel to the business.
Sure. I mean, I've always been a big fan of pop culture.
Right.
But I have to say in the last 10 years, I'm not as laser focused on the Billboard charts.
Right.
Because it used to be part of my job descriptions, like what's number one on the charts this week. And I have to have a very strong working knowledge of everything that was happening in music. And I've sort of backed off on that a lot to the point where now, like, I get most of my musical knowledge from my daughter, who like when she plays songs on the car, like, oh, what's this one?
I mean, the Billboard charts don't make sense anymore because people aren't buying music mostly.
It's a little strange. I mean, well, this goes to something else that I've talked a lot about is we've kind of lost the monoculture, because in the 80s, I mean, people watched MTV and it was the same songs that were being played on the radio, and everybody was kind of being exposed to the same thing. And now we've gotten a lot more fractured and segmented as a culture.
But you have, the the Taylor Swifts and the Beyoncés. There are the people that cut through.
Yes.
But they're few and far between, but they still exist. But everybody else is just like, it's very specific, and it's on either, people are just listening to songs on TikTok or Twitter.
Right.
And 30 seconds of a song, and that's a hit.
That's been happening to a smaller extent with the movie industry too, because you have your Marvel movies,
right,
and then you have the things you shoot on your iPhone,
right. Well, I think the Marvel movies really helped destroy the movie industry. And
really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it got everybody's appetite wet, all the studios' appetite wet for making $2 billion every movie.
Yeah,
and so And so we'll just pour money into the superhero thing, and then forgetting about the ideas that, well, there are other Spinal Tap and When Harry Met Sally and, Kramer versus Kramer.
Right.
And there are movies that aren't gigantic, that are really good,
yeah,
and that may not return $1 billion, but may return 3, 4, 5 times your investment.
Who was it at the Oscars? Was it the Oscars? Somebody who said, "Hey guys, instead of making a $100 million movie, how about making like $25 million movies?"
I subscribe to that completely.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person was, but whoever that person was probably
kudos to you, my friend.
Kudos. He was winning an Oscar, so he's
That's
already
right. So
he can say whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah,
it's fine. You just won an Emmy, right?
I did. Yeah.
Is that your first Emmy?
It is.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now you're in the club.
Thank you.
Have you been to the Emmy Clubhouse?
I haven't been invited yet.
It's really nice.
Let me know.
You should come see it. It's really nice. They're sharp. Be careful. You can hurt yourself with the wingtips.
I just installed the plaque on it.
Yes.
Because they give you the Emmy. You actually get to take an Emmy home that night. But then, how long has it been? When were the Emmys?
Like 3 months ago or 2 months ago?
Several months ago. Yeah. Just yesterday, I think, in the mail, I got the plaque that you that you affix.
It's kind of stupid because they give you the hardware, this beautiful trophy, and it's got a felt bottom, and then they give you instructions months later. Rip open the felt bottom, unscrew this thing, put this round thing on it, screw it back on. It makes you it's like IKEA style, and it really feels like, no, you should be doing this at the place.
Then you have screws left over.
Yes,
you don't.
I know but it's true. Like my Emmy was never the same since I put it on. Like the bottom spins, and I have 4, Al. I have 4 Emmys, but it's all right.
It'll take a while for me to catch up with you.
It's all right, but you have to put the name plaque on. I actually used my Emmys in a show that I did, and I put fake name around it because it was I had an evil villain. I think his name was Dr. Octavius or something like that. Not Dr. Octavius, because that's a real character, but something like that. And he was an evil sponge on Netflix, and I had him. Just happened to have won 2 Emmys, and I put his evil name on it, and those names are still on my Emmys now because why not? Why not have evil names on?
Nice.
How do you feel about escaping the nostalgia business?
I don't mind nostalgia. I mean, I understand that's a big part of my appeal because a lot of people coming to my shows are people that, were kids,
right?
Back in the 80s, and they want to, hear their favorite hits from then. So,
right.
It's not that I want to be known as a nostalgia act because I want to keep putting out more material and try to keep it a bit fresh, but I'm not going to delude myself into thinking that, a lot of my appeal isn't nostalgia.
Well, no, the fan base is the fan base, but if you keep giving them more, hopefully the audience grows with you the more that you give to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of these acts where it's like, if I say, okay, here's my new single, people, that's their bathroom break. They're actually, thankfully people actually care what I'm still continuing to do.
They do. I mean, it's remarkable how much, certainly, I'm old, but my son's generation loves Weird Al. Like, it's still of relevance and value to them.
That's nice
in the same way that they like Saturday Night Live, in the same way that they like, things that are still funny and good. Not that Saturday Night Live is always still funny, but they try. Yeah. And
that's all you can do. Just try.
And every now and then, it's really, really funny. Yeah. I'm still a huge, huge fan. I have a bunch of questions. So we have something called Question Time.
Oh, all right.
It's question time.
What were the best responses you got from one of your parody songs, from the audience and also from the people that you parodied?
Well, from the people that I parodied, a Chameleonaire who did Ryden, that White and Nerdy is based off of, he came up to me at the Grammys one year. It was the year that he had just won for Rap Song of the Year.
Right.
And he approached me on the red carpet and said, I want to thank you because I think that your parody is the reason I won this Grammy because you made it undeniable that my song was the rap song of the year.
That's great. By the way, I don't think he's wrong. I think that there's a stamp of approval on certain songs. I mean, they were hit Beat It, didn't need you. But there but there are other songs that you probably helped lift up into the stratosphere of certainly the people's consciousness and say, oh, I remember that song. If you picked it out, it might have more value. But I mean, you're dealing with big hit songs anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't so bold to say that I really helped somebody's career, but I have heard from a few record company executives that say we helped them move a few more units of their...
I mean, I don't. By the time you did your parody of American Pie had disappeared. So maybe it brought that song to a lot of younger people who didn't know that song.
Yeah, and then the year after I did my American Pie parody, Madonna did her like disco cover version of American Pie.
Yeah, so you both helped.
Yeah,
you both helped. I did. Don't make this mistake. If you're ever in a karaoke bar, don't pick American Pie to sing. It's endless.
Yes.
It just goes on and on and on.
I cut out a couple of verses from my parody.
Yeah, and you know better than I, but it's melodically, it doesn't change. It's the same over and over and over and over again. It's you have Star Wars stuff to make fun of in your, I'm just singing American Pie, and it's sad. It's sad. This is a question from a person named Snurts, who said, would you rather be Batman or a Jedi?
I would rather be a Jedi because I love blue milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Purely for that reason.
All right. A Jedi seems to have a little bit more spirituality than Batman seems to be running from his troubles and a little angry. And
I
trying
wouldn't want to have a butler. I think that's just pretentious.
Oh, see, I'd take a butler. If I could be a Jedi with a butler.
Oh, well, there you go. If you can mix and match. I wasn't aware of that option.
But there's something, monkish and spiritual about a Jedi. They're believing in something. I kind of like that. I would like to be more like a Jedi.
Okay.
He didn't ask me, but I'm Snurts. I'm telling you.
Though.
Yeah.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
This is a strange question. I don't even understand this. Does Al remember a guy who opened for him in 1988 on the Even Worse tour named Loose Bruce Kerr? He played banjo and sang silly novelty songs.
I remember Loose Bruce Kerr, but I don't, I'm not even aware of my opening acts because I'm usually in my dressing room in a fetal position on the floor.
Right. What do you do to actually prepare for your show? Do you do any prep?
I take a shower.
Right. Okay. That's pointless. You're going to be sweating anyway. Why don't you take a shower after the show?
I like to start off unsweaty though.
All right.
And then just like vocal warm up exercises and things like that. But I like to have quiet time.
Some performers I know like to be super energized, do exercise before the show.
No. My exercise is on stage. Right. I save it all up for the stage.
Okay. Some huge meal. I think that's my recommendation. Huge meal.
All right. A lot of carbs.
A lot of carbs and maybe some heavy reading. Some Tolstoy. And then race on the stage.
Boom.
See what, then give them the energy.
I can't identify with performers that just can turn it on. Like I saw Donny Osmond in Las Vegas. He was in the White Nerdy video, and he invited me to see his Vegas show. And I was there with my band, hanging out with them backstage, and we were hanging up with them until like 3 minutes before showtime. Minutes before showtime. And I was like, Donnie, don't you have to prepare? Don't you have to like warm up? And he looked at me and he said, Al, I've been warming up for 60 years. Like, all right, well, it makes sense.
But it's true.
Yeah.
If you start performing at 2, you're used to it.
I just never get used to it. I mean, I still get nervous. I still have, it's still not like easy for me. Like, I enjoy it, but
that's
it's just
the difference between choosing to become a performer later in life, and having your dad at gunpoint making you a performer with your brothers.
See, that was my parents' mistake.
Yeah, it really was.
I should have been forced against my will.
He's Donny Osmond.
He's
is
wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sin Lu says, What song did he really want to parody but could not get permission to do? And I'm going to say it's the Prince song.
Yeah, I had and not one particular. I had like a half a dozen or so Prince things that I wanted to do, and I kept pitching it, not directly to him, but like my manager talked to his snake trainer. I don't know how it works with Prince, but he just never was into it. He never gave a reason. It was just no.
He may have said yes, but in the quiet way that he doesn't speak. So, and his people didn't understand.
It's hard to read.
Can Weird Al parody your song? I was like, and so telepathically trying to give the message. Well, now that he's gone.
No, you know what? I respect artists, and he made his opinion pretty darn clear while he was living. Yeah. So I'm not going to go against his wishes, no matter what his estate would allow me to do. I'm sure his estate is very clear about his wishes as well. I have a feeling like this. There's still like a wrestling match going on in Paisley Park about who owns what and what's going on. It seems like as much as you think you've got your estate in order, you probably don't. Yeah. When did you come to peace with being weird? It's a name you gave yourself as a DJ, but now you're still Weird Al. Yeah, I mean, I always been at peace with it. I mean, I'm not every now and then, in my adult life, I wonder, did I make the right decision going by Weird Al? Because I've been Weird Al my entire life, and sometimes I regret it because it's sometimes hard for people to take you seriously when you're going into meetings, like trying to get them to spend their money on you. But I've heard so many lovely stories about kids that felt alienated or disenfranchised, and they were considered freaks or weirdos by their peers. And they said, looking at me, somebody that's taken on the moniker weird as an empowering symbol, I mean, it meant a lot to them. Yeah, it still does. Honestly, it's there's a segment of the world that loves the stuff that you do. They're entertained by it, but also impressed that you don't give off super show busy vibe guy, but yet you have the talent and you have the fortitude and you do the job. And it's kind of surprising and empowering for everybody else, saying like, okay, well, he subverts some expectations and delivers. How great. He's the least weird guy in Hollywood. It's ironic. Well, you kind of are. You're not that weird a guy. You're not, but you wear the badge proudly, and I think it's great. And I do think that kids who see that are happy, and kids who are who have bad morals and are unpleasant. They look at me and they say, "You're their patron saint." I'm their patron saint. Yes. They think Jake Hogan can have a podcast, so could I. So we're both doing our part. Serving our functions. Exactly. Yes. Lyndon Johnson, not the same Lyndon Johnson, I don't think, says, does your band have any input when you write your originals? Or do you present them with a fully formed thing and say, do this part and do that part? I get full writing credit. I give them a demo, and if I'm doing a pastiche, I'll give them my demo and then say, here's 12 songs by the artist or band we're trying to emulate. So they all get to put their stylistic touches on it. Like I almost never would write out a guitar solo. I'll say, here, Jim, the solo is here. These are the chord changes. Have fun. Right. So they all put their imprint on it. But in terms of writing, that would be me, and the lyrics would be me, although I'll say, which word do you like better sometimes in the studio. Right. But I mean, a lot of musical artists bring in musicians who are great for that very reason. For great musicians who can give you what you want, but sometimes who can give you something you didn't expect. Yeah. I mean, it's always here's what it is, but make it better. Right. I mean, if you watch the Wrecking Crew, or you watch any great musicians, they say, this is the bass line, or this is a hook that they'll contribute, and you go, this is amazing. The song wouldn't exist. My Girl doesn't exist with that ba-da-da-da-da-da. That was a joke in the studio. That was somebody joking around. Yeah, that was somebody joking around in the studio, and Smokey Robinson, do that. Okay. Somebody says do that. And he did. And then you have that song. It's unbelievable. A lot of the great moments in music are just mistakes. Yes. Yes. Like the famous thing in Radiohead's Creep, where he was trying to ruin the take by going, oh no, that's good. That's good. It's great. It's fantastic. Are there mistakes in your music? There are things that we didn't mean to do that we decided to keep. Let's leave that in the recording. Right. But I mean,
and I know nothing about it because I'm not ever in recording. It doesn't seem like there's like a lot of improvisation going on because it's so specific a lot of the time.
No, it isn't very specific, and there isn't a lot of improv, but there are little moments here and there. Like for one song that I was doing, I was recording the demo at home and doing a vocal, and my dog happened to bark at the exact right moment, and I thought, that's great. And I used that in the final recording of my dog barking at that specific moment.
That's fantastic. We have something we do here called Moment of Joy.
Ooh.
A moment of joy.
What is the thing or a thing that you can just lean into it when you want to feel good, that gives you joy?
Oh, gosh. I mean, it would be cliche to like say my family, so I'm going to say pizza.
Okay. How much joy does pizza give?
Pretty much. It started happening during the pandemic. I was like thinking like, what kind of food would make me happy? Mm-hmm. So I started like making a list of like my top 10 best chocolate chip cookies and ice cream and donuts in LA. And lately it's been pizza because we just got back from spring break, my daughter's spring break, and we went to Italy for spring break. So I was like, I got to have the best pizza in Italy, and we went to a few places, and then we got back to LA, and was like, well, what are the best places in LA?
And what are the best places? What's the best pizza place in LA?
Oh, I don't want to give a commercial for anybody, but I got to tell you, have you tried Domino's?
Okay. So we can't take anything that you say. Your tastes are so shitty. No wonder you appeal to the masses. You're just the baseline guy who likes the shittiest stuff. Where did you go in Italy?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look on my phone. I've got the name.
Rome, Florence.
We went to Rome. I know Naples is the place you go. So next trip will be Naples.
Okay.
But we went to some of the places in Rome that got the best Yelp reviews.
Okay, all right. But I mean, the cities. You just visited Rome. Did you go to any other city?
We went to Spain, so we went to also Barcelona and Madrid.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. Went to Barcelona.
Right. And you stayed up all night eating tapas and had that's fantastic. I've never been there.
You should go.
I know. Everybody tells me I should go, and I'm gonna go. We went to Florence recently and had the greatest time. We went to Florence and Paris.
Firenze?
Yes, Firenze, and it was fantastic. The pizza's not so good, but everything else was pretty good.
That's why my wife wanted to go to Italy, and I said Southern Italy because I like red sauce.
Right.
And Northern Italy does not have the red sauce.
No. They're like the murderers up there.
Yeah.
Stay to the south. Stay to the south. Well, this has been fantastic, Al. I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, this is so fun. See, it was fun after all.
It was fun for me.
You told me it wasn't going to be fun.
Well, it's not over yet.
Okay.
There's kind of a gauntlet
you
have to run. No, there's some thugs that you have to wrestle before you get out of here. I really appreciate you being here. You're awesome, and you're a great You're a good person. That's the number one thing that people have to know about you, and they probably already do. I think everybody does know that anyway, is that you're just a nice person, and I like
thanks,
you
Jay.
as a human being beyond your art. But your art, to have a good human being who makes great things is a pretty good combination. Because you'd always excuse an artist for being a jerk if their art was great. Mm-hmm. But if their art was great and you can be a good person, why not do that? So much better. Anyway, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us. And please take some time this week to also not be alone with somebody else. And we'll see you next time.
Don't be alone.